Welcome, my homies, to the Please Do Tell podcast, where age is just a number and stories know no bounds. I'm Ronnika, your millennial storyteller, and here to bridge the generation gap one captivating narrative at a time. In each episode, we embark on a journey together exploring shared experiences, heartfelt connections, and the timeless art of storytelling. From the wisdom of baby boomers to the perspectives of Gen Z, there's a tale for everyone in our diverse tapestry of human experiences. So grab your favorite beverage, settle into your comfiest chair, and prepare to be swept away by tales that resonate across generations. Get ready for insights, laughter, and moments that remind us of our shared humanity. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. Now, without further ado, let the storytelling begin. Hey, my homies, and welcome back for another episode of the Please Do Tell podcast. We are in the month of June, which is, don't tell anybody, well, tell everybody actually, besides my birthday, June is actually one of my favorite months because I feel like all of the great things really happen during the month of June. You have school is probably out for a lot of kids. Let's see. Barbecues. We just said it's like the official start of summer and so many other awarenesses this month. But for me, it's Black Music Month. And if you know me, especially knowing me growing up or just my friends will tell you, I was the queen of making any playlist before there was an Apple playlist, okay? So I am going to be diving into some stories around music in my house, around me with my friends, and how it has influenced my life for this whole month, and amongst some other stories that I'll have weaved in there as well. But let me tell you this. So I know it's been, well, we trying to do it weekly around here now, okay? But one of the tasks that I even this week is the first part of this week I decided to try to organize my office area. I really understand that I am an archivist and that a lot of things I try to hold on to because I said, oh, there's a story here, but some things I just don't need. So I've been going through my library area in the bottom where the cabinets are and just really getting rid of stuff. And even in my dining room area, which is really, I would say Cooper's area, because that's where my little pup likes to eat and roam. I was just getting rid of things over in that area as well. But there was a couple of manuals that I found that reminded me of just growing up in this house and when it comes to music. So, one of these mini stories that I'm going to share with you today is about our Saturday mornings. And listen, let me tell you this. Saturday mornings were outside of just not even during the school year because you're just thinking, like, oh my gosh, Saturday is going to be a break for me. But it was a time for us to just really have a good time in that house. There's breakfast. My mom's making breakfast, even if she has to go to work early because she worked in retail. So sometimes she would work the weekends. But for the most part, my dad would be there on the weekends and then my siblings. And it was just a time. But the manual that I found, and don't even try to judge me about why I still have this. It is the Audio Rack System MCS series model 2255. I'm not really sure when it was produced, but just know that it was circa the 80s that I remember this huge system being in our basement. And we knew once that sound system was on, either my dad was entertaining friends or family, or it was time for us to have a party of our own in that basement. So I went through just kind of going through the different manuals. Why do I have these manuals in my home? Like that system never made it into my home. This system is actually, I believe it's still upstairs, or maybe parts of it is probably still upstairs in my grandmother's house. But it brought so much nostalgia. Like I can think about the albums that were played. I mean, the records. Let's just say the records that were played on this particular system one of my dad's favorite artists was, I mean, of course, Motown was definitely a thing in our house. And even when I moved into my current home, I found some old albums. Like it was, now don't ask me where it is now because they probably filed away, probably in the basement somewhere. Like Elvis, and there was even some Mahalia Jackson. It was just, listen, music has always been a part of my life. So Al Green was my dad's dude. Like I feel like between Curtis Mayfield and Al Green, I should know all of their catalog. I should just know it, right? But let me tell you the story about Al Green. Al Green, my dad and myself. If you are new here, for my homies that are, or for the people that are becoming homies, I'm the youngest of three. My name is Ronnika. That means my father's name is Ronald. So got very creative, I would say, with the last child. And listen, my dad loved a good road trip, even if that road trip consisted of like a 1 hour one way trip. That could be to go get ice cream or to go shopping at another mall because I mean, let's just face it, since I was a little girl, the Orchards Mall hasn't always been the best. I mean, we had our anchor stores, but it wasn't like going to like a South Bend mall, South Bend, Indiana, which is really, well, they'll say, well, it's really Mishawaka, but it's all the same, okay? Going to that mall or even going to the one that was in Kalamazoo, the Crossroads Mall. So I was always, listen, if the car was getting started, I was in that car. I don't care where we're going. I'm trying to go on a ride. My dad was really great about not telling you where we were going. Just get in the car, hush, and enjoy this ride. So one day my dad said, "Hey, let's just go for a ride on a Saturday afternoon." So if we're leaving on a Saturday afternoon, that means we're going to get back late. And that also means that any time that I would want to spend with my friends is not happening. Because, I mean, no movies, no sleepovers. Dad's saying that we're hitting the highway at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I get in the car with him, and I'm trying to think if it was the car or the truck. My dad's pickup truck, which we still have, it had a tape player in it. So I want to say it was one or the other. Clearly, this was before CD players were in your car. Okay. I get in the car with him and he says, "Hey, Chief," because that's what my nickname was. "Hey, Chief, reach down in the glove compartment and get that tape for me." On the tape, it said Al Green's greatest hits. And I thought, oh, joy, we're not even going to listen to anything that I want to listen to on this trip. This is going to be all Al Green all the time. I pop the tape in and we get to rolling. And I'm asking my dad, "Where are we going?" And he said, "Nika, you got in the ride. You got in the car. Just ride. Just enjoy the music and ride." So that's also a time when I try to ask him about different family members. I just want to pick his brain just a little bit, right? Because it's just me and him in the car. Y'all, we get about an hour away from home because I'm watching the clock that's on the dashboard. I'm like, okay, it's been an hour. Where are we going? And we're on I-94 headed east. I'm like, okay, where are we going? Where are we going? At this particular point, Al Green has flipped over to the B side, and I'm still wondering, where are we going? Did I not bring my Oh my gosh, did I not bring my nail polish? Remember? That's right. That was a little, yeah. I was gonna paint my nails during this episode, but I guess I didn't bring my nail polish remover. Maybe it's over there. Anywho, I got into we flipped to the B side, and I was asking my dad, "Where are we going?" He was saying, "Oh, we're going to see your Aunt Katie," which is my dad's oldest sister, and she lived in Battle Creek at the time. And I thought, it's a little. We've been riding for a while. It just seems. When are we gonna get there? Like, I know you've been there before. Why is it taking us so long to get there? At this particular time, of course, there was no GPS system. So my dad, even when there was GPS, my dad was still a map person because he's military and he's the one that he can go outside and say, oh, we're going to travel east. And I'm just like, which way is east? Which way is west? Just give me a highway or just point in that direction or give me a street. Give me a landmark, but do not say, oh, let's head north. And you've lost me. So he pulls out his map and we pull over and I said, okay, we're not going to Aunt Katie's house. Like something is wrong. Al Green is still playing. Love and Happiness is playing at this particular point. And kid you not, by this time we had flipped back to the A side. I said, where at this particular point we should have been in maybe Detroit somewhere. Cause I feel like that's how long we had been riding. It had went from daytime to dusk. And in the summertime, you listen, something is wrong. Something is wrong because it gets dark much later. He finally pulls out his map and he said, oh, I got it. All right. I know where we're going now. He makes a phone call because he has not a cell phone, but the car phone. He has a car phone. So he makes a call, gets the address, and he said, oh yeah, I know where I'm going now. We're not far away. We pulled up into the driveway and I'm looking around and I was like, and Katie must have moved because I don't remember this house. Like where is my dad was he didn't like to be surprised, but he loved to give a surprise. Pulled up and he tells me to get out. I feel like I know all of Al Green, both A and B side at this particular point. And he tells me to go up to the door, ring the doorbell, or knock. I said, is she expecting us? I mean, I ring the doorbell. The door opens. It's my brother. We had pulled up to my brother's house. He had just got a home not too far from my aunt in Battle Creek because I believe at that time he was he still? Yeah, he was a state trooper at that particular time. And it could have been it was really a great surprise that my dad did that day. Mind you, the being lost part was a little frustrating, and of course I would have loved to listen to something else while we were lost for I feel like a couple of hours, but being lost, listening to Al Green, and finally arriving to our destination was just like the perfect weekend getaway. So we were at my brother's house. We're laughing, we're joking for like a couple hours, and then we decide to go home because my dad was like, "Yeah, I just really wanted to see. I wanted to see the new home, and I wanted you to see it, but I didn't want you to know where we were going." And I told him, I said, well, I sometimes I make my own little mixtapes at home. So next time, can I bring my own mixtape and listen to what I want to hear on this ride if we get lost or not? He said, sure, but I'm sure by the time we get back home, which I know how to get back there, you'll know all of Al Green. So I would say that if someone was to ask me what was my dad's favorite album or even artist, it would have to be Al Green and all his greatest hits. I'm telling you, if I hear Al Green to this day, it gives me the warmest feeling of memories of just being around my dad. It also does that for Curtis Mayfield as well. And I think about shows that even growing up in the 90s, like New York Undercover would have these musical guests on there every week, every episode, and just the joy that it would bring us from watching those particular episodes and talking about what it was back then. And then there will be stories of riding around or getting your first car, or the 8 tracks, which 8 tracks, man. Can you imagine even saying that to a kid now? Like 8 track? Are you talking about like an EP? And the EP probably is foreign to them too. Like EP, What? Mixtape. Okay. But I think about how carefree it was for me back then. For me, not just I mean, my parents were clearly raising us in the 80s and the 90s. Well, 70s, 80s, and 90s for everybody. I'm going to cover everybody that was in the house 70s, 80s, and 90s. But I think about even the first tape that I had in my own car. And on those days where the summers and I'm home by myself, and I don't know about you, but even when videos would come on MTV or BET, or even the thing that was called, I believe it was called the box, you could like call in and request tracks. And I think about having this big boom box in the corner of the room, and then when my favorite song comes on, I have to hurry up and hit record. And that was pretty much our way of making, I know for myself, was making mixtapes, because you were actually recording. So we were having radio edits before there was radio edits, I feel like, on our mixtapes, because those shows, it was always the clean version of anything that we were listening to. And just how music makes us feel, even when we think of like praise and worship, and just the many songs that when we hear them once again from our childhood, from adolescence, just from the past, or just even present, and just think about those memories of how they make you feel. So again, whenever I think about, or I hear Al Green, or a story about him will come across my feed, or pops up in a new movie that I'm watching, I think about those sweet memories of childhood. But yeah, Black Music Month is a whole vibe. Music period is a vibe for me. There is an account on Instagram. It's called Music Sermon. And for the month of June, I believe her name is Nia. She does this challenge, this 30-day challenge, and every day there's a prompt. And I believe today was falsetto, and name your favorite falsetto artist or your favorite falsetto song. And I did Intimate Friends by Eddie Kendricks, which was originally, he was a part of the Temptations. And listen, just even listening to that before even coming into the studio today, I was just swaying like, wow, it makes me want to go home and ask my mom about where she was when that song came out, or where she was when she heard her first Al Green or Curtis Mayfield or even Temptations record with my dad. Just music can spark those different memories and just bring about different stories. Just a way to engage with the past that just will just warm your heart. So I'm just asking you, I'm asking you to think about just things from your childhood that will invoke some type of memory. And for me, it's always going to be Al Green, especially his greatest hits. Whew. So, you all, that's going to be the story time for this particular episode. But like I said, it's June and it's Music Month. And listen, your girl got plenty of stories when it comes to music. So, I'm going to say that's going to bring me to the end of another episode of the Please Do Tell podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the power of storytelling. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and please leave a review, okay? Your feedback means the world to me and helps others discover the magic of Please Do Tell. And remember, if you have a story you'd like to share or any thoughts you'd like to express, I'm always here to listen. Feel free to reach out to me through my website is now actually being built, but that's the story for another time, y'all. And or our social media channels, which is the Please Do Tell podcast on both Instagram and Facebook, and I'm Ronnika.Williams on IG. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep exploring, and keep sharing your stories with the world. I'm your homegirl, Ronnika, and this is Please Do Tell. See you next time.